Part 36. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 351. Chapter 351, Strange Tribe. One more please customize. Lee also got up early today. If it hadn't been too late last night, they would have taken a good look at this tribe. This was the first time I heard the name Yanlong tribe, and I felt that this tribe had a different feel even before I entered the tribe. The strange big wooden house at the door alone said it all, and it seemed that I heard the cry of a creature next to the door. They had never heard that kind of cry before. It was always bleating. It was strange to hear it. Did you sleep well last night? Luo patted his belly with satisfaction. You can imagine how comfortable he was when he slept last night. That's how he is. As long as he sleeps and eats, everything else is just a cloud to him. It just so happens that I ate and slept well last night, so now I feel completely refreshed. Well, much better than sleeping in the forest. Kai stretched out. He fell asleep very quickly last night. He stayed by the fire pit for a while, ate some meat and fell asleep quickly. Although they said they slept on a haystack this time, they were already satisfied. After all, there is no need to worry about wild beasts and ferocious beasts. Lan fiddled with her short blue hair and said speechlessly, but I still like the tribe's animal skin mats. It's really uncomfortable to sleep on a haystack. After the girl arrived in a safe environment, she naturally began to miss her previous life and completely forgot about the hard work in the wild. Some sleep well, Lee said calmly. She didn't sleep deeply last night. When the other three people fell asleep at first, she stood at the door of the wooden house for a long time. She had been watching the Yanlong tribe at night situation. This is the tribe they have come into contact with for the first time, so they must be careful no matter what. The reason why they want to see the Yanlong tribe at night is to know what this tribe is like at night. After all, they have not seen it during the day. No matter how many people in the tribe are in the tribe, they don't know the opponent's strength. They don't know what the tribe's shamans are like or what the tribe's chief is like. None of this is known to them. Lee is a cautious person. Although she is safe, her instinct tells her that she should still be careful. Last night I stood at the door until after 1 o'clock in the evening before going to bed. This point was already very late for people in the primitive era, although nightlife on the other side of the earth had just begun. I see you went to bed very late last night. What were you doing? Ian's small single-lidded eyes kept blinking. Although she went to bed early, the rustling sound when Lee came back and lay down still disturbed the girl. This is also what preparation warriors need, and they cannot sleep fully. Wake up when there is any small movement around you, so as to ensure safety with a high probability. Nothing, I just want to see what this tribe is like at night, Lee said lightly. Kai was stunned. He didn't expect that this was the difference between him and the strongest reserve warrior of the tribe. The other party observed this at night, but he fell asleep immediately because he was saved. This is completely incomparable. Ah! What's the situation like with the Yanlong tribe? Kai asked curiously. It looks very strict, and the totem warriors patrolling are very dense. Even if we are on the periphery of the tribe now, we can always see patrolling figures, Lee said seriously. This actually surprised her. She didn't expect this tribe to be so strict. If you know that the patrols are so intensive, it means that there must be a lot of totem warriors in this tribe, otherwise there would not be so many people patrolling. Moreover, the outer areas of the tribe were patrolled so intensively, which made her extremely frightened when she thought about it. This tribe seems not to be simple. Kai said thoughtfully. Come on, let's go take a look and find out. Luo patted his belly and said, this tribe doesn't seem to be a small tribe. Nonsense, otherwise would they have brought so much dried meat yesterday? Lan couldn't help rolling her eyes. She always felt that what her brother said was nonsense, and she really couldn't help but want to complain. If you don't tell me for a day, I will die, right? Luoya looked unhappy, and his happy mood was gone early in the morning. Lan waved his hand and muttered, "Whenever you become smarter, I will stop talking about you. I am so unlucky to have you as my sister." Luo hummed. "I am unlucky to have you as my brother." Lanya looked unyielding. Li raised her hand and pressed it, and said, "Okay, okay, please stop making trouble, okay." Tap tap tap. Kai Kai walked out of the wooden house first. As soon as he stepped out, his eyes were blinded by the flying sand. He kept rubbing his blue eyes with his hands. He put down his hands and opened his eyes slightly, sighing, "The rainy season is really coming. I don't know what's going on with the tribe. I was supposed to go back today." Lan sighed. "Don't think too much. It's useless to think about it now. It's better to think about how to help this tribe," Li said. "Being in other people's tribes, and having to stay for such a long rainy season, it is inevitable that you have to help other people's tribes. This is how primitive tribes are. Only when you work can you have meat to eat. If you don't work, you will eat and drink for free. Even if these children feel at ease, the people in the tribe will not allow this. However, I don't know what help this tribe needs from us," Kai said doubtfully. "Just go and take a look and you will know. If not, we will take the initiative to ask. We should always be able to help," Li said seriously. Tap tap tap. The four of them strolled through the tribe and began to walk step by step towards the central area of the tribe. Along the way they saw all kinds of people, some with horns, some with wings, and some with long tails. These people are no different from those in their tribe, and most of the people in their tribe are like this. The only difference is that the people in this tribe look happy, and almost everyone is smiling. This scene is almost impossible to see in the giant bear tribe. Their tribe only complains but has no expression on their face, or seems to have a deep hatred. This is especially true when it comes to work. Everyone tries to find ways to be lazy and not work, but the people of the Yanlong tribe are different. They were very happy when they saw the people of this tribe, even with smiles on their faces while working. This scene is a bit incredible. I wonder what magic power this tribe has to make them all so happy? I have enough worries about filling my stomach every day, so how can I think about laughing? Did you see it? They were all very happy. Li was shocked. It would be okay if only a few people were happy and smiling, but as long as they saw people passing by, they seemed to be in a good mood. Please update for support and customization. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 352. Chapter 352, This is simply impossible. 2 more please customize. I don't know, maybe they have something to be happy about. Luo guessed. Many tribes are like this. Each tribe has different festivals, and the ways of celebrating are also different. Although today is not a festival for the giant bear tribe, maybe it may be for the Yanlong tribe. It's a very good festival. Maybe they have festivals when the rainy season comes, Kai also echoed. Li nodded thoughtfully, said nothing more, and continued walking towards the central area. Tap tap tap. Although they thought it might be because of the Yanlong tribe's festival, the smiles and laughter of the people in the tribe made them feel strange. Li couldn't help it anymore, so she pulled a little girl and asked, "Is today a festival for your tribe?" The little girl was stunned, looked at this strange person, paused for a long time, shook her head and said, "No, today is not your day, so why do you all look so happy?" Li asked confused. This made her even more puzzled. This is not a holiday anymore. Why are you still so happy? No, do you only have to be happy during festivals? Can't you always be happy? What the little girl doesn't understand is this. In her eyes, it's okay to be happy as long as there are happy things. It doesn't necessarily have to be happy only on holidays. Well, Li was stunned for a while, then she came to her senses and said, That's not the case, I just wonder why you are so happy. We have food, drink, and clothing every day, so why should we be unhappy? The little girl tilted her head and said. Ever since Subai took over the Yanlong tribe, the people of the tribe have never been hungry. They eat 3 meals a day. Although they will eat less at the beginning, they will gradually eat less. Everyone can eat enough. And not only eating meat, but also some vegetables and noodles, which also greatly improve the food and taste. Every tribe is like this, and you are very happy just because of this. Lan thinks this is very incomprehensible. Doesn't she think every tribe is like this? They all have food, clothing, and drink. We didn't have enough food and clothing before, but it's different now. In addition, it was difficult for us to survive the previous rainy season, so we don't have to worry now, the little girl continued. After she finished speaking, she left directly. She felt that these 4 people were a little abnormal, and their expressions looked strange. Tap tap tap. Lee was stunned for a moment as she watched the little girl leave. She originally wanted to ask something. This tribe is really strange. Some are eating, wearing, and being so happy. Aren't these normal? Lan said doubtfully. I think they are right. Having food and sleep is a very happy thing. Lugo agreed very much with what the little girl said. Anyway, he is like this. As long as he is given enough food, he will definitely be very happy. There's definitely something we don't know about this tribe, let's ask other people. Lee felt a little unwilling to admit defeat. She always felt that things were not that simple. Just eating would definitely not make people feel satisfied. Tap tap tap. The 4 of them continued walking towards the central area. During the process, they asked a middle-aged man and got the same answer. But the middle-aged man added that there was no need to worry about the rainy season this year. The reason why they were really happy was this. It turns out that this is what they are happy about, but it is true that if their tribe did not have enough to eat before, it would indeed be worthwhile to be happy if they could not worry about food now. Lee nodded thoughtfully. Hey, look, what is that? Lan pointed to a tall building in surprise. Her blue eyes widened, and she was very shocked. This was the first time she saw such a thing. Lee and the other 3 followed the direction that Lan pointed. Looking over, everyone was stunned, some even had their mouths open. What on earth is that? It looks so tall. Kai said in shock, his blue eyes widening. It looks like they are all made of stone. Could it be a house? Luoye was very shocked. Looking around, all he could see were stones, but why could the stones be built so high? The point is that these stones are very flat. If it were a house, it would be too scary. Yes, they are stones, but how were these stones piled up? And it looks neat and square. Lee's outlook on life was completely washed away. Although she had seen a lot of things in the big tribe, this was the first time she had seen a stone house like this. Is this naturally occurring? Lan was surprised. She couldn't think of any reasonable explanation. Otherwise, the stones would not be piled up so high and look so smooth. But it seems that it is not naturally formed, but why is it like this? Lee couldn't explain it. If these stones are naturally formed, it would be too strange. Why are they found in the middle of the tribe? And we also saw people coming in and out. It is obvious that these houses are man-made. Not naturally formed. If it was built by man, how could it be built so high? And what is used to polish these stones? It can be said that there are 100,000 doubts. It doesn't look like it was polished from one big stone. Luo looked at those houses seriously and continued, they are made up of stones one by one. He is quite smart, and he can see things that others cannot see if he observes carefully. Pieced together piece by piece, Lan suspected that her ears had heard wrongly. Don't be kidding, there is no way the stones can be spliced together, not even with witchcraft. Kai shook his head repeatedly and rejected this idea. It is impossible for 2 stones to be glued together, let alone so many stones. And they are not just one or two. Looking at the tribe, there are more than 10. If it is glued together with stones, the speed is too terrible. So they don't agree with this statement at all, not to mention that there is no way to splice stones. This time I agree with the decision. How can stones be bonded together? Lee's expression was also very serious. This is simply unbelievable. This tribe actually has such a thing. It's incredible. But I think they are made of stones, otherwise there would be no natural ones. Lugo is still very sure of his idea. Moreover, those houses look very tall, as if they were made deliberately, rather than naturally. Second update, please support and customize. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 353. Chapter 353, refresh your knowledge. 3 more, please customize. Lee and the 4 of them were all amazed. This is the first time they have seen such a thing after living for so many years. Do you want to ask someone? Just ask someone and you'll know everything, Lan suggested. Instead of us guessing here, we really should find someone to ask. Lee agreed with this idea. Several people kept looking around, trying to see who they could ask. Kai pulled a man in his 20s and asked, "What is this?" The man looked in the direction he was pointing and said, "This is the house built by our witches." "Did you ask people to build it? Were these stone houses really built by humans?" Lee's red eyes widened. The man nodded without thinking and said seriously, "Of course, why should I lie to you? How is this done? It's really incredible." Lugo was so surprised that he opened his mouth wide. "Are you from other tribes?" "No wonder I don't know." The man had a mocking expression on his face. In his eyes, it seemed that except for the Yanlong tribe, all other tribes were not worth mentioning. "That's right, we are from the Giant Bear tribe, and we are taking shelter from the rainy season in your tribe," Lee said softly. "Let me just say, this is the secret of our tribe, and I don't know it. Even if I knew it, I wouldn't tell you." The man smiled. "You," Lan was about to lose his temper but held back. "When was this built?" "Don't ask me, I don't know anything." The man waved his hand, turned around and left. He had heard from the chief that don't talk about the tribe to anyone in the tribe. Even the people from the Black Snake tribe who have now become the Yanlong tribe. Similarly, they are not qualified to know this for the time being. Although they know that the tribe is building houses with stones, they do not know how to build them. They do not know the grass and wood ash cement even more, so the secret of bonding 2 stones together only a few people know. Even if the workers know about the soil and the 2 stones bonded together, they don't know how the soil is made. They all think it is witchcraft and have no doubt about it. There are not many people who make plant ash cement, and those people are trustworthy. The 2 groups of people who fired the plant ash and made the cement were strictly selected. Therefore, the fact that plants can make cement will not be exposed for the time being. Even if the tribesmen know about these stone houses, they don't know exactly where these stone houses came from. They only know that the witches arranged for people to build them. How to make these houses, how to make them, and how to make them. They have no idea what the process is like. "Look," I said, "these houses are man-made, but you still don't believe me." Lugo looked proud. "Although we know that these houses were built by humans, how were they built?" Kai asked curiously. "How do I know this? Not even the people in their tribe know." Lugo spread his hands and said. Lee said with a serious look on his face, "This tribe is indeed not simple at all. These stone houses are more useful than wooden houses." The girl is not sure at all. Needless to say, the advantages of a stone house are better than wooden houses and tents in terms of wind and rain protection. And seeing that the height of those houses can be so high, it means that it must also be it's very stable. And this stone house looks very big, and it must be able to live in a lot of people. But there is one thing that the girl doesn't understand very much, and she doesn't think it should be done. She just asks why the stone house has to be built so high. Even if no matter how high the distance is, aren't there only a few people living there? Building a fort that high will only be a waste of stones and manpower. And it seems that they have quite a few stone houses. Kai glanced around. He was surprised to find that there were more than a dozen such cement houses in this tribe. Although only the one in front of him was very tall, the others were shorter. But even though the others were very short, those heights were also high. It's much taller than an ordinary wooden house. Although these stone houses are very nice, why are they built so high? Lan asked doubtfully. She had the same idea as the girl. Such a high stone house is simply unnecessary. Yes, is it to scare some ferocious beasts? Luo guessed. Are you stupid? This is the middle of the tribe, and there would be ferocious beasts running directly into the middle. Lan rolled her eyes speechlessly. That's true, but it's just that the base is suddenly so high. I really don't understand it. Luo scratched the back of his head in confusion. Li really couldn't understand. Her red eyes were full of surprise, and she kept looking at the surrounding cement houses. The expression on her face was very shocking, enough to show that she was really shocked. Got it? It would be great if our tribe also had these stone houses. Lan suddenly felt a little envious. Yes, but it would be nice if it didn't have to be as high as the size of the wooden house. This would save some stones and manpower. Kai agreed. After being out for so many days, they finally heard a reasonable sentence, but what they didn't understand was how these stone houses were built. If we discuss cooperation with them, we might be able to find out how these stone houses were built, Li suddenly said. This can be said to be the most meaningful gain of their trip. If the entire tribe is replaced by this kind of stone house, even the row of wooden walls can be demolished, because this house is enough stronger. That's true, but we didn't see their witch last time. I'm afraid it will be a little difficult to see them this time. Is it possible to open it? Don't worry, the rainy season will still be around for a long time and there will always be a chance to see it, Li said seriously. She suddenly began to think about something in her heart. If she could bring the stone house back to the tribe, would she be looked upon with admiration? Kai also had this thought, but he didn't show it on his face. That's all, but I'm also starting to plan in my heart. Look, that road. Lan pointed to the cement road not far away. The cement road was also very big and long, and they could see it at a glance. What happened to that road? Li followed her finger and looked over, stunned. Isn't that one also made of stone? Today gave them too much shock. They didn't stop for a moment and immediately ran towards that road. Third update, please support and customize. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 354. Chapter 354, Don't dirty your feet. 4 more please customize. Tap tap tap. Li and the 4 of them immediately ran towards the avenue, their faces full of anticipation. After seeing the stone house and then seeing the stone road in the distance, they felt a little uneasy. Within a few minutes, they ran to the concrete avenue, and all 4 of them stood there together. This looks like, why does it look so unlike stone? Lan asked doubtfully. She saw that the things on the ground were all earthy gray. Although they looked very smart, they were not comparable to stones at all. But it looks very hard, so it must be a stone. Luo frowned and guessed. I also think it is a stone, but no stone is such a big one, right? Kai felt a little incredible. In his impression, no stone was so big and so long. He looked at the big stone and could not see the end of it. It would be too exaggerated to say that it was a stone. Bar. Will it also be spliced together? Li guessed. She also felt that such a large stone was unrealistic. No matter how outrageous it was, there would never be such a big stone. If even houses can be linked, why can't these stones be linked? How can it be? These stones have no trace of splicing at all. Lan squatted down and looked at it. She reached out and poked the ground, only to feel that the ground was hard and felt no different from stone. Li also squatted down, observed the ground, and said doubtfully, it is indeed the same as stone, but why are there no traces of splicing? The girl can be said to be very confused. How to explain this? It can't really be a big stone, right? What kind of tribe is this tribe? How come there are so many strange things? It was confusing at first. He saw those stone houses, and then looked at the stone floors, which really made him feel a little weird. Could it have been created using witchcraft? Otherwise it really doesn't make sense, Lan guessed. She thought this was really unbelievable. How could a stone be so big? It doesn't matter if the stone is big, but it looks so long and so flat. This is simply unreasonable. How is it possible? There is no magic that can create these things, Li retorted. The girl is relatively rational. It is impossible to create these things with witchcraft. Moreover, she has never heard that witchcraft can change things. Countless ones are used either to cure diseases or to deal with things. It's from a beast. I've never heard of witchcraft that can transform things out of thin air, so it's simply impossible. Could it be that the witches of this tribe practice this kind of witchcraft? Lan guessed. Improbable, didn't they say these were all built? So non-existence is created by magic. Li shook her head without hesitation. So how did these things come out? Is it really spliced together? Luo frowned. These things don't look like natural stones. Natural stones cannot be so big. These are the stones. Lan pointed to the gravels next to them. The gravels laid next to the cement road are considered stones to them, and that is reasonable. Because stones look like this, with irregular appearance and strange looks. Yes. A road like this is so wide, smooth, and very long, so it's not considered a stone at all. I'll go up and have a look. After Li finished speaking, she walked up, wanting to feel what this road felt like. The others did the same, no longer struggling around, but directly walked up. It feels so comfortable to walk on and feeling so solid, Lan exclaimed. She felt like she was stepping on a real big rock. That feeling made people feel at ease. This feeling was not like stepping on mud, it felt soft. Right, is this their path? It feels real, really special. Li's red eyes widened. The moment she put her feet up, she felt a sense of security. That kind of security is not found when stepping on dirt roads. Dirt roads give people the feeling of being soft and rotten. And it will also make your feet very dirty. It was so wide that several of us could walk side by side. Luo kept looking around. He saw that there were many people not far away from this road, and they all felt the feeling of the stone road on it. If you can walk on it, it will definitely save time. Kai was thinking of this aspect. Because when she usually runs and advances in the tribe, she often steps into mud pits, or her feet are covered with mud. The feeling is really uncomfortable. That feeling, not only is it sticky and greasy, but it also affects the feeling of running. Shall we take a walk? The road seems very far. Luo suggested. Lan stood on tiptoes and looked into the distance, nodded and said, okay, we have nothing to do anyway. Li thought seriously, then nodded and said, okay, then let's go to the end and have a look. By the way, you can also ask other people on the way, what is this thing? Kai is really too curious. If you tell him that these are stones, he will never believe it, because no stone looks like this. They should and may not know, just like those houses, if you ask them, they don't know either, Li said in a deep voice. She always felt that there were many things she didn't know about this tribe, and those things would make her curious. No matter, just ask as you go, someone will always know. He walked ahead. He liked this feeling so much. He didn't have to worry about getting his feet dirty when he stepped on the hard road. Fourth update, please support and customize. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 355. Chapter 355, The rainy season is coming. One more request for customization. At night, the sun sets, and the Yanlong tribe is shrouded in darkness again. Everything looks dark. Almost at the same time, the fruit oil lamps in the tribe began to light up one by one. These fruit oil lamps are like stars in the dark night sky, twinkling and looking particularly beautiful. Subai returned to the fourth floor and stood by the window looking at the scene outside. The wind became stronger as the night went on. The whirring sound could be heard even through the glass, and the trees in the forest not far away were lowered. Since it was night and the wind was howling, the newly lit fruit oil lamps also beat with the wind. Almost in an instant, all the newly lit fruit oil lamps were extinguished. In an instant, the entire Yanlong tribe was mostly dark again, leaving only the fire pit in the room still lit. Sure enough, this still needs to be overcome, Subai murmured to himself. The rainy season can't come, and the fruit oil lamps next to the tribal avenue will be unable to be lit. And it will also rain by then. Even if there is no wind, the fruit oil lamps will not be lit. Woo, it suddenly looks a lot darker outside. Yu Ying lay on the glass and murmured. There is nothing we can do if the wind is too strong, Subai said softly. He suddenly felt very comfortable tonight. He didn't know why, maybe it was the calm before the storm. It is very comfortable to sleep on a rainy day, and the night before a heavy rain can also make people sleep well. Very comfortable. Woo, tomorrow is the rainy season, we will definitely be able to get through it safely, right? Yu Ying asked suddenly. Fox-ear girl didn't dare to think back to her previous days in the tribe. During the rainy season, she could only eat one meal a day. She woke up very hungry every morning and finally managed to finish eating at noon. Meal, and then starve again until noon the next day. Moreover, there were not many animal skins in the tribe at that time, and it did not mean that everyone could get a share. The fox-eared lady did not have any, and only a very thin piece was left behind. She shivered at night against the animal skin. That kind of life lasted for more than 10 years, so the fox-eared girl was very frightened. Even after the tribe got a new witch, life began to slowly improve, but the fear inside me has never changed. Of course, with me here you won't go hungry or cold, Subai said seriously. Of course he knew what fox-eared lady was worried about. It wasn't just her, the whole tribe was worried about the same thing. But at the same time, he also knew very well that as long as the people of the tribe could get through this safely, there will be heavy ice and snow during this rainy season. The people of the tribe will be even more devoted to him. After all, people in the primitive era valued this very much. It will be easier to manage the tribe by then, not to mention for this rainy season. He has been preparing for a long time. Yu Ying nodded heavily. She suddenly felt confident. After all, she also knew all the preliminary preparations. Have Uncle Gumu's raincoat and umbrella been made? Subai asked. Everything has been made. It was delivered here at noon today. Would you like to take a look at it? Yu Ying asked. Subai shook his head gently and said, no need, I believe Uncle Gumu, not to mention these two things are not difficult. Knock knock knock. When Subai finished speaking, there was a knock on the door. He nodded and let the person who knocked on the door come in. Crunch. Yanhua and Shalan opened the door, revealing a small head first, and then walked in as a whole. Why are you here? Yu Ying blinked her pink eyes. The wind outside was so loud that we couldn't sleep, so we just wanted to see if Wu Sleep was asleep, Yanhua said. It was the first time to wait for the rainy season in a stone house, so I couldn't sleep. Shalan added. Subai smiled slightly, walked to the wooden sofa and sat down, and said softly, since you can't sleep, let's have a drink. Drink? Yanhua fiddled with her hair a little more and continued to ask what do you want to drink? Subai took out a can of tea from under the table and said softly, "Let's drink tea. It's nice to watch the scenery outside while drinking tea." The can of tea he had opened from the aid package before was a can of Dahongbao. When he thought of Dahongbao, he thought that the Dahongbao pearl milk tea on the other side of the earth is also very delicious. Wow! Yuying immediately stepped forward and took out boiling water from the fire pit, then took out several cups and put some tea leaves evenly into them. The tea Subai drank every day was made by Fox Ear Girl, so he was very familiar with the series of steps. In a few minutes, 4 steaming cups of Dahongbao tea were brewed. When the boiling water was poured in, the aroma of the tea wafted out instantly. Shalan avoided her blue eyes to feel the fragrance of the tea, and sighed, "This smells so good. Is this tea? It looks like rotten leaves." Yanhua placed the cup very low and frowned at the tea leaves underneath. She felt that these tea leaves were no different from the dried leaves that fell on the ground in the forest. These leaves can actually be used to make water for drinking. Sure enough, they are Wu. He can always think of things that others can't think of. I thought so at first, but it tastes really good. Yu Ying strongly recommended it. When Fox Ear Girl saw the tea for the first time, she had the same idea as Oxhorn Girl, and she even resisted touching it. Yanhua put the cup in front of her nose and smelled it with doubts. Her red eyes widened. She had an incredible expression on her face and said, "This smells great. You will like the taste after drinking it." Subai blew lightly and took a sip. "This is how you drink tea. It's good to have a cup when you are leisurely and take a look at the scenery outside the window." Yanhua took a few deep breaths of the tea fragrance, and suddenly feeling relaxed and happy, she also took a decent sip. She took the first sip a little hastily and was burned a little, but she was reluctant to spit it out. She had a strange expression while holding the tea in her mouth, and she finally swallowed it. He drank it, and after a while, he couldn't wait to take a second sip. Seeing the other person's appearance, Shalan also took a sip and praised Wu, "This tea is delicious. Drink less. If you drink too much, you will be unable to sleep at night." Subai warned. "You can drink some tea in moderation. You will feel very comfortable after drinking it. But if you drink too much tea, it will refresh your mind and you will not need to sleep at night." "Wu, what plant is this tea made from?" Yanhua asked curiously. Because she saw that the tea leaves under the teacup had brewed and began to stretch into the shape of a leaf. Please update for support and customization. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 356. Chapter 356, Light travels faster than sound. 2 more. Please customize. Then this is more complicated. I will tell you more when you know more words in the future. Subai smiled. On the other side of the earth, according to the scope and level of plant groups, taking into account evolution, physiology, cells, genetics, and other kinship relationships. They listed the tea tree system into classification levels, and the tea classification belongs to the category of botanical classification. This level is expressed by a series of units, namely phylum, stele, order, family, genus, and species, so the tea tree belongs to the Camellia family. This knowledge is very complicated, and Subai still has to think about it for a long time. Get up. Who told him to write novels? This knowledge involves more or less one aspect. But now when I explain these things to the girls, they don't understand. We can only wait until they fully understand the Chinese characters before going. It's better to say these. Good. Yanhua nodded and began to look forward to literacy in the future. Rumble. Pitter-patter. A series of dull thunder. As soon as he got up, the room was suddenly illuminated by the thunderous light. For a moment, the room was as bright as day, but it only lasted briefly, and it immediately returned to normal. When the next thunder sounded again, the room was as bright as ever, and the faces of the girl and Subai were illuminated. After the thunder resounded across the sky, it began to rain, and the sound of rain mixed with thunder resounded throughout the tribe. The rainy season is coming. Yu Ying put down the teacup and was about to turn around and walk to the window. At first, the fox-eared lady was a little worried that the rainwater would drift in, and she didn't dare to get too close. Until she saw all the rainwater hitting the glass, forming droplets of water. But not a drop of water penetrated into the glass. She felt at ease, put her hands on the glass, and looked outside curiously with her immature eyes. This was her first time spending the rainy season in a cement house. This feeling was really so amazing. Subai didn't say anything, and followed him to the window with a teacup in hand, wanting to see with his own eyes what the rainy season of this era was like. There is no so-called rainy season on the earth. At most, it is said that it rains frequently during this period, but it does not mean that it rains every day. And he heard that it rains every day during the rainy season here, so he was particularly curious. But at this moment, there was only heavy thunder and light rain outside. Although the thunder was deafening, the rain that fell was just a drizzle. Looking around, the entire tribe was caught in a haze of mist and rain, and the forest and river in the distance did not look very interesting. If this scene were seen by a sketching enthusiast like Earth, he would definitely be unable to help but pick up a paintbrush and record it. It was the first time to watch rain from such a high place. Yanhua kept on tiptoe and looked around. She really wanted to see the difference between the place where she usually trained and the place where she went out to pick wild fruits. From the height she was standing at now, she could see very clearly the places she had been to before. Of course, it's night now, and most of the oil lamps have been extinguished. It's also raining hazy, so it's impossible to see those places clearly, even if you have good eyesight. Why can't I see anything? Yanhua murmured to herself. It's raining now, and it's so late at night that it's weird for you to see it. Shalan didn't want to complain. The cat-eared girl kept looking at the place where her mother lived, trying to see her figure. Originally she slept in the same room with her mother, but Subai said now that there are extra rooms, why do we have to squeeze into one room for two people? Besides, you are not young anymore, and you are now considered a Miko. If you need help immediately, if you are too far away, you can't. Good command. Does it always rain like this during the rainy season? Subai suddenly asked. No, it only rains like this for a day or two during the rainy season, and then it rains heavily. Yu Ying quickly shook her head and said. If it rained like this during the rainy season, life wouldn't have been so hard in previous years. And the people in the hunting team can also go into the forest to continue hunting, so the light rain is nothing. I see. Subai nodded thoughtfully. This means that the rain in the rainy season gradually becomes heavier, and does not turn into a heavy rain all at once. Therefore, you can still enter the forest at the beginning. The things he arranged before can be carried out again. Woo, look, it's so bright over there. Yu Ying pointed excitedly to the other side of the river. It was a bolt of lightning falling from the sky, and the light it emitted was particularly dazzling, illuminating most of the tribe at once. Start by covering your ears. Subai immediately covered his ears as soon as he finished speaking. Although the others didn't know why, they also followed suit when they saw Wu doing this. Rumble. Just when everyone covered their ears with their hands, a loud noise suddenly came from the place where they had just shed tears. Yu Ying stared at her pink eyes in surprise, and said in shock, how could Wu know that there would be such a loud noise? Yanhua felt it was very magical, and she opened her mouth slightly and asked Wu, this is it witchcraft? Shalan was the same. She had not yet reacted to the huge noise, and her blue eyes could only blink. This is not witchcraft, this is a natural force that can be explained by science, Subai said simply. In fact, lightning and thunder are actually produced at the same time, but on the one hand, the speed of light is 300,000 kilometers per second, and the speed of sound is 340 meters per second, so the speed of light is much faster than the speed of sound. On the other hand, the speed of light is much faster than the speed of sound. Lightning and thunder are far away from them, so during thunderstorms, lightning is always seen first before thunder is heard. This is because the propagation speed of light is faster than the propagation speed of sound. I taught physics in junior high schools on the other side of the earth. Woo, do we have to wait until we learn more Chinese characters to know this? Yanhua asked curiously. Niujiao Niang can be said to be very studious, which can be seen from the first time she learned Chinese characters. She is very curious about this aspect of things. As long as she can explain it to her, what will she do? Everyone is willing to learn. In fact, this won't be too difficult. When you learn more words, I can do an experiment to show you Sudbai's physics score is still very good. And it is not difficult to simulate the experiment of light propagation faster than the propagation speed of sound. Yanhua nodded without hesitation and said seriously, Wu, teach us now, let's learn words. Sudbai was stunned by the other party's enthusiasm, and said with a smile, okay, there's nothing to do now anyway, just take out the wolf's tail paper and quill. Good, the three girls responded positively. Second update, please support and customize. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 357. Chapter 357, Figure in the Rain Curtain. 3 more please customize. Rumble. Wow. It was like there was a big hole in the sky, and rain kept pouring from the sky. It was originally a drizzly night last night, but it started to rain heavily after dawn. The mist from the heavy rain formed layers of barriers, making it difficult to see what was ahead. Snap, snap, snap. At this time, the raindrops were falling in dense numbers, hitting the ground quickly, and the sound of splashing muddy water could be heard everywhere. Da-da-da. The leaves in the forest were also being beaten, and the sound was very loud. Listening to the sound made people think that such raindrops would pierce the leaves. Although it is raining very heavily now, there are many figures in the rain curtain. The beating speed of those figures is very fast. If you don't watch carefully, you won't be able to catch that speed. Boo-hoo-hoo. Those figures seemed to completely ignore the heavy rain, and the speed of prying did not slow down at all. On the contrary, it is getting faster and faster. Not only that, those figures also keep flying out with weapons. Those weapons are all nailed to the ground, trees, and grass. If you look around, they are all there. If you look carefully, you can see that those weapons are all the bones of some ferocious beasts, and those bones are polished to be very sharp, and the whole body is also very slender. Although it was made of animal bones, its lethality was also very strong. Those animal bones flew out from the human figure. After the sound of breaking through the air, the weapons were directly pressed against the ground, and the ends of the weapons were still vibrating. The overall lethality can be seen at a glance. If it is nailed to the human body, it will definitely be very painful. The raindrops hitting the ground from the sky did not make these flying stone needles deflect even a little bit. Boo-hoo-hoo. The figures galloping under the rain curtain did a backflip, climbed over the branches blocking the ground in front of them, and landed firmly on the ground. The sound of falling to the ground was inaudible amid the surrounding raindrops. Even if it wasn't raining, there wouldn't be a loud sound. These people are the preparatory warriors of the Yanlong tribe, and this is the case every year in the rainy season. They need to conduct accuracy training in the rain, which is very difficult. After all, it depends on the surrounding environment. If it hadn't rained, accuracy training would have been nothing to them. Moreover, they have longbows and have been training at targets for a long time, so their accuracy is even more guaranteed. But it is difficult to ensure accuracy in a rain curtain, and the falling rain is a big obstacle. If the force is not used correctly, those bone needles will be dripped by the rain. The power of those large water drops falling from the sky is not small. Yanhua's figure slowly emerged from the rain curtain, and her red eyes looked very serious, without any slack. She was holding a bone needle in her hand, and her red eyes seemed to be aiming at something. The rainwater has been dripping from the sky, falling on the grass, leaves, stones, and also on the body and head of the horned lady. The rain began to slide slowly from her forehead, along her tall nose and pink lips, then fell on her slightly raised chin, and finally fell on her neck. This scene looks different, it makes people think it is a beautiful scene. Call out. Yanhua took aim at the opportunity and aimed the bone needle in her hand at the soil insect that had just emerged from the soil. The moment the bone needle flew out, it was like slow motion. The bone needle passed through the dripping rain. It was also clever. He avoided many large water droplets, and finally stared directly at the head of the soil insect that had just emerged. It seemed to take more than 10 seconds, but the entire movement was completed in one go, taking less than a second. Middle, the corner of Yanhua's mouth raised slightly. This is the 10th time since the rain today that Niaojiao Niang has nailed a soil bug. She has not nailed it since the morning. Yanhua is not proud either, and continues to take out the bone needle and aim at it, preparing to find the next soil worm to emerge. These soil worms only come out during the rainy season, and are more than 20 centimeters long. Their appearance is similar to earthworms, except that the whole body is darker and thicker. During the rainy season, they all come out to drink water. They will only come out to drink water today throughout the year. They also breed offspring. The rainy season is also their estrus season, so there will be a large number of soil insects breaking through the ground at this time. This is also the reason why the tribe chose to conduct accuracy training in the rainy season. The soil bugs that emerge can move. And it is raining heavily, so it is not easy to target them. This also greatly improves the training. Difficulty. Where will the next one be? Yanhua murmured to herself, but did not put down the bone needle in her hand. She had to be prepared at all times, so that she could launch the bone needle in time, so that she would not be at a loss. Over there, Yanhua shouted. She turned around, jumped onto the tree after flipping and aimed at the next target. During the rainy season training, it was not just as simple as targeting soil insects, but also those creatures that only came out during the rainy season. The horned lady is targeting another kind of creature. It usually lives in the trunk of trees. Only during the rainy season will it crawl out from the trunk and start looking for food and drinking water. This creature is the tree cicada, which looks like a tree cicada. It is very similar to the cicada on Earth, except that it is larger. The color of the appearance is dark green, which is not easy to spot if you don't look carefully, and it is still raining. The reason why Yanhua can feel the movement of the cicada was because her keen hearing heard the sound of the tree cicada breaking out of the tree. Call out. Yanhua jumped down from the tree with a backflip, and the bone needle in her hand came out in response, and flew towards the tree cicada that had just climbed out. Before the tree cicada even screamed out, it understood life. The pair of transparent cicada wings were still flapping. The water drops fell on the cicada wings and fell slowly. This scene seemed to say goodbye to its life. No one really looked at the world when they came out. Even I don't know how I died. Very good. Yanhua smiled even more happily. There is nothing happier than hitting the target. She reached out and pushed her long black hair back. Because it was raining, her hair was soaked. It would be easy if she didn't fiddle with it. Covering her face, Yanhua jumped to a higher place, preparing to see soil insects or tree cicadas at a high place. Of course, those tree cicadas that were nailed by bone needles had to be brought back, and there were many of them. It can be roasted. The tree cicada also tastes very good when roasted. It tastes crispy and fragrant. Who will be the next target? Yanhua squinted her eyes slightly and looked around. Third update, please support and customize. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 358. Chapter 358, I also want to have a pair of wings. 4 more requests for customization. The rain is still falling, and the rainwater slaps on the leaves and stones, making a clicking sound. If you listen carefully, there is a rhythm that makes people feel good, especially when paired with the misty forest. The flame flowers continued to dance among the trees, and the falling rain seemed to have no effect on her. She walked as nimbly as a jumping rabbit, landing on the tree trunk accurately with every step without any deviation. The jumping figure is not obtrusive at all in the rain curtain. The leaping figure forms a perfect arc in the rain curtain. Boo-hoo-hoo. Yanhua kept firing the bone needles in her hand. Since she had been firing them all morning, she was now very familiar with firing bone needles. There were sounds of breaking through the air, and each bone needle was 100% nailed to the soil insects and tree cicadas. There are already a lot of tree cicadas in her deepest bag. Whichever reserve soldier shoots the most tree cicadas will be rewarded. That's a lot, but not enough. Yanhua closed the animal skin bag and prepared to continue catching tree cicadas. Tap tap tap. Suddenly there was a sound of footsteps under the woods, and the footsteps became more obvious on the rain-covered land. Alan, your footsteps are too loud. Yanhua turned over and fell to the ground. She heard clearly just now that those sounds were made by the cat-eared girl, and she also saw her cattail swaying in the rain. Shalan heard the words from the year of the ox horn. After the sound, it stopped, and the cat's tail also lowered. She saw the horned lady falling, ran over with a smile, and asked Ahua, "How many tree cicadas have you caught?" Yanhua smiled, proudly pulled the animal skin bag in front of him, opened it, and said, "It's not a lot, we have to continue." "Oh my god, you're so awesome, it's almost full." Shaiyan's blue eyes widened in surprise. "And you? How many did you catch?" Yanhua asked curiously. Shaiyan's expression was obviously frustrated. She also pulled the animal skin bag to the front, opened it and muttered, "It's half of you." The cat-eared girl thought she had caught a lot, but she was stunned when she saw the number of horned girls caught. Sure enough, there are differences between people, and we cannot be content with the status quo. Keep up the good work, it's still a long time before it's over, and I can help you, Yanhua encouraged. The horned lady and the cat-eared lady have a very good relationship, and they definitely don't want to see each other get scolded. Today's catching time ends when the sun goes down in the evening. The one who catches the most tree cicadas will be rewarded, and the one who catches the least will of course be rewarded. There will also be punishment. Shalan shook his head repeatedly and refused. "No, your number will be small, and there will be no hope of competing for the top 3. The cat-eared girl didn't want the other party to miss the opportunity to be rewarded because she was not good enough to rely on others. Yanhua just smiled slightly and said, "What's the point? I've caught a lot, and I will continue. So you don't have to worry." Niojiao Niang doesn't think this is anything. Anyway, friends and rewards are definitely the most important. I will work hard too. Shalan suddenly became serious and started looking for the target with bone needles. Yanhua was the same, holding several bone needles in his hand and several in his mouth. Because this way he could capture the tree cicada as quickly as possible. Saves the time of taking out the bone needle from the bag. So that's it. Shalan finally learned it and bit the bone needle in his mouth. The two of them were on the left and on the right, each looking for their own goals. One figure jumped up, one with black hair and the other with blue hair. Colorful hair looks pretty good in the rain. Boo-hoo-hoo. The sound of breaking through the air continued to sound, and the bone needles in the girl's hands also flew out one by one. "Ahwa, I caught 2." Shalan pulled the tree cicada out of the trunk in surprise. One of the bone needles of the cat-eared girl was directly aimed at the 2 tree cicadas. One was flying and the other was parked on the trunk. The bone needle killed 2 birds with 1 stone. "That's awesome, I haven't done it yet, Yanhua said with envy. This is really powerful. Shalan was encouraged, the corners of her mouth began to rise slightly, and the expression on her face was very good. She held 2 bone needles and kept aiming at the next target, and said confidently, maybe we can get it back. I have to work hard too. Yanhua is also very confident and thinks that she has to work harder. Hoo. Sister Ahua, how many have you caught? Air flew in the air against the rain, and the purple butterfly wings didn't get a drop of water. When the rain fell on the butterfly wings, they turned into water droplets and slid down smoothly, and there was no way to wet the wings. Not much. How many did you find? Yanhua wanted to keep it a little bit and not let too many people know about it. Air slowly landed on the ground and said with a smile, I caught half the bag. It's great. Butterfly girl is very happy, because she has wings and is very advantageous, and those tree cicadas are often discovered immediately. So awesome, I caught so many, Shalan said with envy. At first she also hoped that she could have a pair of wings, even if she didn't have such beautiful wings. Then we have to work hard, otherwise we won't be able to catch up with you. Yanhua smiled slightly. She couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. It seemed that the opponent's number had not surpassed hers. I won't compete with you here. I'll go look elsewhere. Air smiled and flapped her wings and flew up. Hoo. The purple butterfly wings are very conspicuous in the rain, and they look beautiful when they flap. Then you have to be careful and don't give too far, Yanhua warned. Flying on a rainy day is actually very dangerous, not to mention the rain is so heavy now. I get it, and so do you. Air flapped her wings and left. 4th update, please support and customize. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 359. Chapter 359, First Place. One more please customize. Pitter patter. Rumble. The heavy rain from the sky continued to fall without any sign of letting up, and people in the forest continued to look for tree cicadas. For them, the main goal now is to capture more tree cicadas. The rain falling from the sky doesn't matter to them at all, but it is a good thing to cool down. Time passed by, and the sky gradually darkened, but there was still so much rainfall. Alan, how many tree cicadas have you caught? Yanhua turned over from the tree branch and jumped down. Not much, almost a bag. Shalan shook her head slightly. The cat-eared lady did not show weakness, especially after seeing the horned lady capture so many tree cicadas. There were only 2 thoughts in her mind. The first was not to drag the other party down, and the second was to work hard on her own. You are so fast, you caught so many in just a short time, Yanhua said in surprise. When she first saw her, the number was still very small, but now it has doubled. Because I can't hold you back, so keep all the tree cicadas you caught. Shalan said with a smile. We have all been friends since childhood, and there is no saying that anyone is holding the other back. Yanhua was a little angry. She felt that the other party was too worried. She thought that good friends should not be like this. A good friend means you help me and I help you. When you are in trouble, I will definitely help. So. She saw that the cat-eared girl was very polite. Although she knew this was her temperament, she was still a little unhappy. I understand, then if there is any need tomorrow, I will let you help. Shalan smiled slightly. She was used to this, so she often blurted out, no, it doesn't matter. Okay, you must come to me if you need anything next time. Yanhua said seriously. I know, let's go back quickly, it's already the deadline. Shalan walked in the front first. Tap tap tap. The dancing figures of the 2 people looked particularly jumpy in the rain and fog, and they kept moving towards the direction of the tribe. It was as if the heavy rain had no impact on them at all, but instead became an assist. Half an hour later, all the preparatory soldiers in the forest returned to the tribe one after another. Yan Jiao stood in the middle of the square wearing a raincoat, looking at the preparatory soldiers with a serious expression. The preparatory soldiers also returned to the square and began to line up, each of them carrying an animal skin bag. The bags contain their today's trophies, and these trophies are also used to evaluate their training results today. What were the results today? Yan Jiao asked in a loud voice. Although he didn't have too many movements or expressions, the feeling of not being angry and assertive made the reserve soldiers dare not challenge too lightly. After all, the chief is the chief, even if he doesn't say anything, he will stand still. There will be a sense of oppression. The chief knew it when he saw it. A very confident preparatory soldier said. Very good, I like your confidence. Yan Jiao nodded with satisfaction. As the reserve warriors placed their animal skin bags in front of the square, some totem warriors began to conduct inspections. There are not many reserve warriors in the Yanlong tribe now, only 215 people. Like the more than 100 preparatory warriors of the Black Snake tribe who were still locked up and were not free for the time being. Originally, this rain training was intended to involve people from the Black Snake tribe. But because the opponent's number was greater than the reserve warriors of the Yanlong tribe, so the plan was temporarily cancelled. Chief, the inspection has been completed and the top 3 have been determined, Degua said seriously. Yan Jiao nodded, his red eyes continued to look at the preparatory warriors, and asked which of you is confident about taking the top 3. The preparatory soldiers no longer had the enthusiasm they had at the beginning, and they were all a little quiet. Yan Hua glanced around and found that no one looked confident, so he was the first to shout me. Yan Jiao heard his daughter shout out. He didn't know how satisfied he was in his heart, but his expression was still serious and he just nodded. As Niao Jiao Niang shouted first, other preparatory soldiers also responded. There is a big gap between the top 3. There is a lot of difference between the first place and the second place. The second place and the third place are almost the same. There are not many others, Yan Jiao said seriously. His expression was very serious. The words he just said were enough to show that he was not very satisfied. What the chief wants is that everyone has a similar number, and then picks the top 3 from the middle. Not now, the gap is so big, the number of the first place is comparable to the number of the other 2 people combined, the gap is a bit big. None of the preparatory soldiers spoke. This time the first place was Yan Hua, the second place was Qinchi, and the third place was Ai. Yan Jiao's face was a little ugly. But he was still a little happy in his heart, nothing else, because his daughter won the first place. But at the same time, he also felt a little regretful, that is, Shalan was only 4th. If he worked harder, if you take 1 point, you can get the 3rd place. After Yan Hua saw that she was the first place, the smile on her face could no longer be suppressed. The corners of her mouth raised slightly, and she said happily, "That's great, I knew it. Will be number 1. The Niao Niang is still relatively confident. After all, she is getting better and better at catching tree cicadas later on. It is almost to the point where she is almost 100% accurate, and there are a lot of tree cicadas in the place where she is. I also know you will be number 1. Shalan said happily. Although he couldn't be in the top 3, it was good to see his good friend get the first place. What a pity, you were so close to finishing 3rd. Yan Hua is also very sorry. It doesn't matter, I'm satisfied with 4th place, at least it's improved compared to the previous year. Shalan shook her head and said. They were selected as reserve warriors last year, and of course they also participated in the annual rainy season training. Of course, their results last year were not very good, and neither of them even made the top 5. So it's really good to be in the top 5 this year. The important thing is that the Horn Girl also won the first place. Keep working hard at training tomorrow and I will help you. Yan Hua said seriously. Good. Shalan smiled slightly. Cough cough cough. Yan Jiao coughed slightly in front and signaled everyone to be quiet. Although his ranking was good, he couldn't be proud. He stood up straight and shouted into the rain, those who get the top 3, don't be proud, there will be another training session tomorrow. Yes, the preparatory soldiers shouted in unison. Please update for support and customization. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 360. Chapter 360, Boil Ointment. 2 more requests for customization. At night, the rain continued to fall, showing no sign of letting up. It was foggy everywhere you looked. Subai stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling window and watched the scene, and said softly, it really has been raining all day long. This was the first time that he felt that it was raining all day long. In the past, it was raining at most in the second half of the day. But I still haven't encountered it all day long. This feeling makes people feel very strange. Wu, the weather is getting a little cold, why don't you wear some linen clothes, Yu Ying said softly. It's okay, I don't feel cold yet. Subai shook his head. Maybe it was because his physique became stronger and stronger after time travel, but he didn't feel cold now. Others had more or less added an extra piece of animal skin clothing, because it had rained all day, and moisture was inevitable. It's a bit heavy. So the temperature will drop a little bit, but it won't be very cold. Why are there suddenly so many plants? Yu Ying said doubtfully. I got this from the woodshed, Subai said softly, those are all herbs. These herbs were also brought back from the hunting ground, and then the seeds were sown in the wooden shed. In the next few days, healing spells were used on them, so they were harvested directly in a few days. Got it? What are these used for? Yu Ying had a puzzled look on her face. The herbs she smelled were all weird. Some were good and some were bad. In short, there were many kinds of smells. It is used to make herbal medicine and can be used by everyone, Subai explained. He planned to make some herbal medicines for the people of the tribe to use, so that he could save a lot of time. Because once the people of the tribe got sick or had any minor illness or pain, they would find witches to solve it. Before, the tribe, the same is true for the old witch in the tribe, who often helps cure sick people in the tribe. It's not that Subai doesn't want to help them, but it's just too cumbersome. Too many people come to the door, which wastes time and wastes witchcraft power. It would be nice if there were ready-made herbal medicines and they could make them themselves. It would also be simpler. Wu, how do I make herbal medicine? Yu Ying said doubtfully. It's not difficult, it's all written in the book, just make it according to what's written in the book, Subai said softly. He had prepared the herbs in advance. The selected materials were all fresh herbs, and those with rotten or yellow leaves were discarded. So that's it. Yu Ying looked at the herbs with a confused expression. Subai put a strange-looking herb into a bowl, took out a piece of wood and started to pound the put in the herbs. Dong dong dong. The herbs were pounded into small pieces with wood, and then some new herbs were added and fiddled with. Wu, do you want to put them all in? Yu Ying prepared to put in the other herbs on the table. Wait, don't worry, the herbs you put in must be classified and cannot be put in casually. Subai stopped him. If he didn't stop him, the fox-eared lady would probably knock out all the herbs on the table. Oh, do you want to put this one? Yu Ying held another strange herb. I don't want this yet. Bring me that red plant, Subai said. Good. Yu Ying immediately responded and took the red plants. Subai put 5 or 6 kinds of herbs in a stone bowl and started to pound them. After pounding them into pieces, he poured them into another bowl to prepare. Wu, what should we do next? Yu Ying asked curiously, looking at the colorful plant fragments very strangely. You need to add some other things and continue to mash it, and then start to boil it into a paste, Subai said seriously. Chinese herbal medicine must be made into an ointment. This way it will last longer and be more comfortable to apply. Boil it into paste. Yu Ying looked confused. Well, this step is also the most important and requires a lot of processes. Subai nodded lightly. The step of making the paste is not simple, because the first step is the formula, because everyone's physical strength is different from birth to day after tomorrow. The formula of the paste must be designed for one person. Of course, in the original the tribe can't do this, so they can only make the formula milder. The second step is to select the medicine. The medicines used in the ointments are all selected with the highest standards, paying attention to safe Chinese medicine and authentic medicine. The third step is to soak. After taking the medicine, add an appropriate amount of water to the decoction pieces in a special container and allow them to fully soak for 24 hours. Mix the medicine evenly and put it into a covered container. A casserole is the best container, but a copper pot, enamel pot, or aluminum pot can also be used, but an iron pot can be used. To avoid causing chemical reactions. Then add an appropriate amount of cold water to soak it. Usually the water is 15 centimeters above the surface of the medicine, and the soaking time is about 24 hours. In this way, the active ingredients in the medicine are easily decoctioned. The fourth step is extraction. After soaking, put the soaked pieces into the medicine pot and boil for 3 hours to take out the medicine juice. Add an appropriate amount of water and boil for 3 hours. Combine the medicine liquid several times. Press the medicine residue out of the medicine juice and mix it into the above medicine liquid. Place it in a container and let it settle for 6 to 12 hours. Let it sit for 6 to 12 hours. After settling, filter with a plug to remove impurities in the liquid and take out only the clear liquid. The fifth step is to concentrate. This step is also important. The clear liquid must be filtered through a 120 mesh drug sieve. Place it in a medicine pot. In addition, add another decoction of fine ingredients, heat it to boiling, skim off the foam, and put the decoction liquid on a low fire to boil to evaporate and concentrate. At the same time, constantly stir the liquid to prevent coking, and gradually it forms a thick paste. After that, the ointment is collected. Add glue and fine materials to the concentrated liquid, stir continuously until the glue block is completely melted, pour it into the medicine pot, continue to heat and stir until the medicine drips and forms a thread. In this process, the emphasis is on the height of hanging silk and hanging flag. Usually when these two situations occur, it means that the ointment is ready to be quickly made. After it is made, it is the last step. That is to say, in separate packaging, the paste is heated and quickly poured into special containers that have been cleaned and sterilized in advance. The medicine pot containing the freshly brewed ointment is very hot, but you must be quick when dispensing the ointment, otherwise the sticky ointment will easily condense together. Will it be difficult? Yu Ying asked curiously. Of course, the process is complicated, Subai said without hesitation. If it weren't for the sake of making it easier in the future, he wouldn't want to make an ointment now. After all, it would be too troublesome. Because there are differences between Chinese medicine decoctions, strong fire and slow fire. Generally speaking, it is necessary to prepare Chinese medicine decoction into a paste. Use slow fire to cook. First, add enough water at one time. Do not add water halfway, because adding water halfway will cause some components to intensify oxidation due to the high free oxygen content in the water, reducing the efficacy. Secondly, when the medicinal soup boils, start slow frying and slow fry for 2 hours. Finally, filter out the medicinal residue and continue to fry slowly. Then directly observe the medicinal soup without boiling, just a small amount of transpiration effect, until the medicinal soup is decoctioned into a thick extract state. In short, the process is very complicated, and it is almost impossible for inexperienced people to do it not good. Second update, please support and customize.